people are coming at me from a lot of different directions, including legally saying, Marcellus, take another look at what you went through. And I'm trying to take that look right now. That's when people start telling me, watch your back, bro. He's on you already. And I still didn't trip. They ran a triangle offense on me in terms of upstairs. I go, she comes in, and Acho's doing the pushing on both sides. That's a different conversation. And that's why I think a lot of people are reaching out, trying to see what I want to do going forward.
Marcellus Wiley talks about pursuing a lawsuit against Fox. I want you to hear exactly what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
I and I'm not saying this to stir crap. I'm not saying this to bait you into this. I'm a journalist, and this is what I do in my nature. As it relates to you, I could see someone saying, hey, Marcellus, this is actionable on your part, that you were harmed here. I don't think I could say that, because what the checkmate piece that Fox Sports would put in front of me is like, hey, Jason, we offered you a 2-year deal at the same rate of pay, and you said no. And we offered you this deal, and they'd further argue to me is like, hey, this is in the middle of the pandemic when everything was up in the air. And so we weren't in a position to perhaps offer you the money that the success of the show says you should have. And so they got an airtight argument that, hey, Whitlock, we made you an offer. Based on the way you operate, we knew we were making you an offer that you would refuse. But we made you a fair offer, and you could have stayed, and you could have been still making quite a bit of money, and blah, blah, blah. As it relates to you, I don't know if they could make that argument that you were treated fairly and didn't have your opportunity undermined.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. From my position, because it's 24 hours since I truly digested this, and people have reached out. Let me just be real about that. People are coming at me from a lot of different directions, including legally saying, Marcellus, take another look at what you went through. And I'm trying to take that look right now because I know of the influences that were around me. I know what they offered me. And when I say offer, I'm being loose with this, because as you look back on it, you start to realize the first thing they said to me is, we're not doing that show again, and we're not doing it with you. So now
that's crazy. So if he pursues legal action against Fox FS1, he may have something here. Think about everything going down with FS1 right now. If there was some type of agreement for him to sign on board and then not to pick up the show, what's the sense of offering him a contract if you had no intentions on keeping the show running? So this could get interesting.
Now we want to do something with you. What can that be? But that right there in itself became a tornado of nothing. Like we just went around in a bunch of circles to the point where I said, you know what, it's time for me to bet on myself, because it feels like I'm getting a runaround here. You know, once I know, I'm going to let you know. I'm not the type to hide behind it. But yeah, lawyers are reaching out to me because when they saw me get surprised by the allegations, especially the one about Charlie Dixon, they said that is actionable. And now I'm trying to make sure that everything that I went through and everything that I read in that article is actually true. Because the last thing I want to do, look, I've been 2 years removed from it. I didn't try to burn down Emmanuel Acho knowing that he was plotting. Joy Taylor, I still see her all the time. I wasn't trying to burn her down, even though I knew she was plotting. To me, that's just like going to coach after the game, say, hey, you know, if you give me the ball, I get more yards. But when you bring it from another perspective, that coach is actually doing something on the side, and that's influencing his decision more than just the production, just the numbers, that's a different conversation.
So that's crazy. Nasty work by Fox, Emmanuel Acho, Joy Taylor, Charlie Dixon, allegedly. If they were plotting on getting him removed and then he lost his show, there could be some legal action. He may have something here, so don't be surprised if Marcellus Wiley really takes those lawyers up on their offer and pursue legal action against Fox.
I want to be clear with the audience, yourself, Charlie Dixon, anybody that's watching. I am someone who likes Charlie Dixon, was a supporter of Charlie Dixon, and he was a better alternative for me than Jamie Horowitz, who refused to allow me to do a show that was consistent with who I was and my brand. And in my view, Jamie Horowitz preferred guys that would do inauthentic shticks like I felt like Shannon Sharpe was doing on Undisputed, and Charlie Dixon allowed me to do me. Where I will, and I like Charlie Dixon. I've been publicly supportive of Charlie Dixon when Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith. Again, I like Charlie Dixon. But I'm also a realist about the game and the game that's being played in television. And so, Marcellus, do you remember, you and I did the show for 2 years, and halfway through it, after that first year, that summer, when we first started showing signs of growth and success, and they put us in a meeting with, I think the guy's name is Ben, and he had written up a booklet and a report on what we were doing with Speak for Yourself. And this whole book that he wrote up took a dump on what we were doing. And I, in the meeting, I'm like, hey man, this is crazy.
Yeah, Fox, they had to play it safe. They know the direction Whitlock wants to go. They're seeing what he's doing now. So they had an idea like, we can't put money behind this because it's just going to be so much controversy and backlash based off how Whitlock moves. Companies, networks, they got to play it safe. They got to pander. So I can see why they didn't want to move forward with Whitlock. But with Marcellus Wiley, I thought he would be able to kind of maneuver better, still be him, but still have a decent show on Fox. And that was a solid show when Marcellus and Whitlock had it, to Speak for Yourself. But unfortunately, it had to come to an end. And again, it could be something to where legal action can be taken on Marcellus's part.
Are y'all not looking at the ratings? Can you not see the momentum and blah, blah, blah? And I said in private when they tried to walk it back, because let's say, I'm sure they started preparing that book that takes a dump on Speak for Yourself. I'm sure they started preparing that in February or March. And they weren't prepared for what the numbers and ratings were going to say in April, May, June, July. They present this to us, let's say in August, and now the numbers are starting to say like, damn, what they're doing is working, but they had prepared a booklet and a report that said what they're doing is terrible and they need to do all this and they need to do all that. And so I objected in real time. And I said in real time to Charlie Dixon, I was like, hey man, y'all done put together a booklet that all these executives, Eric Shanks and other people, they're going to read this. And I go, and this is going to cost me money because it's hard to walk back that narrative that you've put someone in booklet form. And so they're going to deny the numbers.
Yeah, for them to put out a piece like that, talking about the show in a negative light, I don't understand why Fox, FS1 would do that. You got a solid show going. You got Marcellus and Whitlock in their prime in television, but all of a sudden you kind of want to throw dirt on the show. So I don't know what's going on with Fox, FS1. They've had a lot of stuff behind the scenes allegedly, but just a bad look overall for you not to move forward with the show.
And then as we went through the next 6-7 months, the numbers all flowed our direction. We were having incredible success, and it was like Fox Sports is finally going to have an authentic hit show that Fox Sports put together. They didn't acquire The Herd, or they didn't acquire Skip and The First Take. This is their show, and this is what gave me confidence, like, oh, they're fitting to jump behind. This is their show. It's different than everything else on TV. And according to what liberals say they want, it's a black show. It's having this kind of success.
You would think in the day and age we're in, You got 2 black people on the show doing great, and then for them to kind of self-sabotage the show on Fox end just to get rid of it. Again, I don't know how Fox is moving. This is why they're not able to compete with the ESPN, because they're not willing to take risks. They want to play it safe. As soon as they get close to that line, they take 10 steps back, or they remove people or remove shows that may cross those boundaries. So FS1, Fox, y'all got some work to do. Y'all losing all your great talent.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at things from I could see it with the booklet, and I can certainly see it from this lawsuit, that it was like, oh no, they're going to deconstruct this. They're not going to have a black show be the hottest thing at a network where they were paying the most money to Colin Cowherd and Skip Bayless.
Not only just a black show, but a black show that was going to talk about different topics, kind of cross that invisible line that corporate media doesn't want to cross. People think, okay, ESPN and Disney, that's only corporate media. But Fox is corporate media as well. I thought that a lot of people that left Disney and ESPN going to Fox, it'll be a great look. They can be themselves, but evidently that's not how it works at Fox.
I get it. I get what you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. And I looked at it from a different perspective, because I thought that they were just showing preference. Like you said, we've been in the industry too long. We were fighting uphill. We were fighting a headwind. What we were doing. We had a family-based show with an all-black cast from young to old, and we were authentic. The Colin Kaepernick saga. The BLM, like we just talked about it like we really saw it. We didn't have a shtick. We weren't inauthentic, like you said. We weren't faking the funk. We were just talking for real. And that was working. And I always thought that maybe they just had a different preference. Like, hey, that is amazing. That's the best tasting burger I ever had. Unfortunately, this is an ice cream shop, and that's all we want to sell is ice cream. So I always took my removal, my departure as a preference. But reading that lawsuit was the first time, and it's crazy. Everybody always comes up to me all the time. I post comments, fans, man, they did you wrong. They did you wrong. And I could never put my finger on it. But if these allegations are true, now I look at preference as it actually was. It sounds like sabotage. And that's a different animal than preference. So looking back at that's how, true. Like you said, it was just head scratching. I was dumbfounded the lack of support we had with our success. I had to scratch my head when you left. You know, you guys are going to negotiations. All I heard, I didn't hear from you. I would hear from Charlie. We trying to get Jason. I'm calling him every day, 10 times a day. And then one day, Jason's gone. Then I'm sitting there doing a show by myself during the pandemic. They throw Acho at me. I knew Acho as a mentee. I was mentoring Acho because he was dating someone who was friends with Kerry Champion, who I used to come to our studio. I would hang and talk to him. Gave him my number. Hit me up anytime. This is Sports Nation days. And that turned into like a big brother, little brother role that he didn't fully embrace. He didn't want to. And I wasn't mad. I'm like, look.
It looked like Emmanuel Acho had different plans, as you can see. Yeah, he came up under Marcellus Wiley being on the show, being that mentee, but all of a sudden behind the scenes, allegedly, it looks like he may have been plotting, trying to take over, and look at him now. He got his own show, The Facility, and he was on the Speak for Yourself for a while with Joy and the other people. So Acho looked like he was doing some stuff behind the scenes, and it's starting to come to light.
I'm not your big brother if you don't want to be little brother. But that's when people start telling me, watch your back, bro. He's on you already. And I still didn't trip because I'm like, dog, if I could ball, you can't take my spot. And when it switched out and then it became Joy, what am I thinking? But now when you read that lawsuit, and if it's true, they ran a triangle offense on me in terms of upstairs. I go, she comes in, and Acho's doing the pushing on both sides. That's a different conversation. And that's why I think a lot of people are reaching out, trying to see what I want to do going forward.
Yep. This is why he may have a potential case, a lawsuit. Just think about all the moving pieces that were going on behind the scenes. He just thought he wasn't a good fit for the network, when in fact, he may not have been a good fit just because you got Emmanuel Acho, Joy Taylor, and that just whole thing behind the scenes going on allegedly. So I hope he looks into it. You may even get a couple dollars because they kind of stunted you a little bit. Even though you're independent doing some great things, you could have still been able to have been on Fox, do your stuff on the side. But again, they had other plans. But we'll see what happens moving forward. Maybe he has something, maybe not. But hopefully he does pursue it, because there could be something there. And again, when you don't fall in line with corporate media, you don't want to be a puppet, you're not going to be on that network for long. So it's not just ESPN and Disney, it's Fox too, it's other networks. They're trying their best to stay in line and try to make money in the same time. So if you don't want to do what they say, you got to go independent. So best of luck to Marcellus Wiley. Shout out to Jason Whitlock. I keep y'all updated if there's any legal action taken on Marcellus Wiley's end.